Welcome once again to Highlander month, and as we continue, we look at season 4. And yes, don't worry, the leather jacket is on. So with season 4, we have a lot of great action, a lot of great stories, but a lot of interesting developments that further the lore of Highlander. For starters, Duncan MacLeod meets up with one of his old immortal friends, Kolchak. Now, Kolchak is a wonderful human being. However, he's been going through something that's really got Duncan going, what the heck is going on? What is going on is Kolchak is killing off other immortals, and when he has a quickening happen, he happens to encounter what's called a dark quickening. Now, in Highlander lore, dark quickenings are said to be a fantasy or a myth, but as you see in this series, it does happen. And I would argue, although it's not confirmed, that in the first film, when Connor MacLeod fights Kurgan and has that quickening, that's an early example of what a dark quickening can be. What happens when a dark quickening occurs is an immortal becomes so obsessed with the kill instead of fighting with honor that they just turn to the dark side, basically. And you worry about Duncan with this. You wonder if he's ever going to get out of it. They do find a way to get him out of this predicament, but I'm not going to spoil it here. You have to see it to believe it. Now, because of this incident and multiple incidences, this really prompts the Watchers to put Duncan on the hit list and want to get rid of him. So Jack Shapiro, the new head of the Watchers, really wants to get rid of Duncan and, by extension, get rid of Joe Dawson. And while a public execution is set for Joe Dawson and a manhunt is on for Duncan MacLeod, there's another immortal named Jacob Galati who's out to put this all to a stop and is on his own quest for revenge. The act of vengeance stems from a time in Jacob's life when Horton came in and killed his immortal love. His actual immortal love. Yes, he was immortal who loved another immortal. Horton killed her, made a quickening happen. Jacob had the quickening. Now Jacob's on vengeance. And the season ends on a cliffhanger. Now, I'm not going to tell you what happens, nor am I going to tell you what's the resolve. You'll just have to find out in season 5. And that is season 4 in a nutshell. Now, of course, like as always, released on VHS when it was done, released on DVD years later. And of course, it was in that box set that I have, which I highly recommend you get on Amazon and buy. Because it's really hard to try and stream this show, but yeah, give it a look. Now, of course, it's time for me to tell you which episode I like and which episode I don't like. My favorite episode happens to be the season opener, Homeland, which is actually directed by our lead star, Adrian Paul. The story here is that Duncan goes back to his homeland with Scotland to avenge his father's death and to also make up for lost time and try to put to rest his once mortal love that he wanted to have in his life. But because she was set to marry another clansman, that couldn't happen. As a result, the other clansman was killed, as was her. During his journey of self-discovery, he does come across this Scottish lass, shall we say, that kind of reminds him of his mortal love. And the fight scene at the end, which literally takes place in a ring of fire, is one of the best fights in the series, in my opinion. But as much as I like that episode, there's one episode I just didn't care for. The episode I don't like is called Reluctant Heroes. Basically, Duncan and Richie encounter a murder that goes awry, and they're witnesses to it, but they decide not to pursue being called witnesses. As a result, this evil immortal, who's literally in bed with a head detective, wants to kill both Richie and Duncan. And when the fight occurs between Duncan and this evil immortal, it takes place in a meat processing plant. Now, I work at one, and I can honestly tell you, this ain't thrilling. Well, I'd rather go to work than watch this fight. And the quickening is weak, too. So that's season 4 for you. And oh boy, when we get to season 5, there is some epic stuff going on.